Welcome to the Star Citizen News, each week taking a look at the headlines of what's been happening in the world of Star Citizen, and then taking a closer look at the various CIG shows and information that they've imparted in the weekly review, this time for the week ending the 13th of March 2016. This week's headlines: Star Citizen Alpha 2.2.2 is out, and Freefly Week, all ships unlocked for all accounts whether you have Star Citizen or not. The latest release of Star Citizen 2.2.2 is now out. This patch addresses some pressing issues that we had with desync and the 300 series of ships. Many crashes and other bugs were also fixed too. The Sabre and the Xi'an Scout are on sale until Monday the 14th of March. The new subflare has also come out. This is the Terran Emperor Blossom, a flower for your hangar. Also, all ships are unlocked for all accounts in this week's Free Flight event. Whether you've got a totally new account or you're an old backer, you have access to the whole of Star Citizen now and all of the flyable ships for the next week until the 20th of March. So if you've got friends that you want to get into the game, try it out yourself, or maybe just try out some of the new ships, just grab the weapons from them and drag them onto your other ships as well. You get all flyable ships for free until the 20th, including the Sabre, the Glaive, the Scythe, everything that is flyable. And if you have an account already, you're all set. If not, then sign up in the description below. And there's also a sale planned at the end of the week too. Not entirely sure what's going to go on sale. Could be a concept sale, could just be some limited ships. On a last quick note for the headlines, CitizenCon tickets for the 9th of October go on sale to subscribers this Thursday the 17th of March. If you're not a subscriber and want a ticket to that event, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. Now let's look at the various news shows for 10 for the Chairman, Around the Verse and Reverse the Verse in this week's weekly review. In 10 for the Chairman, episode 78, Chris Roberts imparted a variety of different knowledgeable nuggets upon us. In regards to patch size, at the moment you'll need to download huge amounts of data every time you update. In the future though, in the very soon future, we're only going to need to download the files that you need or have changed in the recent patch, so in incremental updates basically. This will reduce the costs for CIG as well as the time needed to download significantly. NPC generation. NPCs will be generated using various factors from the Universe Simulation server. This handles the big picture of what's going on across all the servers and instances. This data will be used to work out what NPCs or pirates or whatever spawn if a planet is getting run down or low on a particular resource, as well as mission generation. This is all affected by players and NPCs and will be pretty dynamic too. With the Star Citizen flight model, you're going to have more options than you do in regular atmospheric air-based combat maneuvering. Visibility is obviously an important part of this, but you're going to have turrets to cover your blind spots. Being behind a target in most situations will be an advantage, but there will be ways for skilled pilots to get out of most situations. Docking and undocking tech. Once they've wrapped up the landing system, docking and undocking should be one of the next things that they're looking at, starting most likely with the P-52 and Constellation and the way that they dock together. Realistic audio options in space. They're going down the cool and fun route rather than the realistic route, so in the short term there aren't going to be any super realism audio options. Personally owned NPCs. There will be caps on the amount of NPCs that you can own or use at once, but they haven't settled on how many this will be. There will be enough for you to help you have crew for your larger ships or flight escorts, but they don't want you having like 10 separate Hornets being flown by 10 NPCs with you for gameplay, performance and balance reasons. The point of farming. You will be able to sell crops that you generate in those biodomes at a premium. The idea is to grow rare items or things that you couldn't necessarily grow on a planet. Chris expects a lot of people will be going space weed, but in the short term it's just going to be vegetation and plant-based farming, no arable produce, nothing like that. Pretty simple. Vulkan and DirectX 12. They're looking at both Vulkan and DirectX 12 APIs, and there's no firm decision being made on what they're going to support first, though. Chris's hobbies. There isn't much time outside of Star Citizen in Chris's life for anything other than Star Citizen. He does play tennis and loves movies and will look to further his hobbies in the future after Star Citizen has been launched. In Around the Verse Season 2, Episode 22, we learn what a variety of the studios around CIG and Foundry 42 were doing. In the Los Angeles studio, they've been porting the vehicle power plant items over to the new item system. They've been building new art assets, the heavy armor is going back on concept phase, and they've been working on levels of detail for components and LODs in general. Down in the Austin office, they're fixing issues with stability and desync, the issues that we had with 2.2. They're now actively testing 2.3. Some of the cool stuff they're working on include NPC animation sets for Astro Armada and the G-Lock bar, among other scenes. These are going to help bring the world to life. There's some exciting stuff with the Starfarer too, which won't be too far off in the future to be on our hands in the hangar. They've also continued work on Persistence and the Kasaba outlet clothing store. Work has also been done on the economy, and they're going to be doing a deep dive into real-life spaceship component costs. Down in Foundry 42, they've combined both the UK and German updates together in this one from the Frankfurt office. The Foundry 42 offices are working extremely in line with each other at the moment. They're going over plans and schedules, improving communications, getting staff to meet and teach each other between the studios. This is all really important because they're both working on lots and lots of parts for Squadron 42, that single-player game. They're also getting things planned and discussed with the procedural tech too. On this week's Wonderful World of Star Citizen segment on ATV, the interviewee was me, BoredGamer. I was talking about my Star Citizen channel and some of the videos that I make on a daily basis. Yay me! On this week's ATV Behind the Scenes, a couple of the employees from Behaviour were interviewed about the work they do there. There was also a new segment, The Lawmaker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is about lore of each system and planet, and presented by Sherry Heiberg, the CIG archivist. This week's MVP was Kanato, if that's pronounced correctly, for his 3D radar video, looking at how the radar works and suggestions for improvements to it in the future. In this week's art sneak peek, we got to see some improvements that are going to be made to the AR screen in the form of dynamic AR labels. In Reverse the Verse this week, we found out a few other little details that weren't discussed elsewhere. There is a sale planned for the end of the week, around the 18th of March. Not entirely sure what will be on that sale yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Hangar subscriber flare, that is the flare that's being added over the last week, is the start of the Space Plant series. Squadron 42 dog tags are now on sale on the CIG store. There is no official price on CitizenCon tickets yet. I expect maybe $60 roughly. The Concierge Flare will be coming in a few weeks' time. That's all new Concierge Flare. They are still planning to implement VR. They will talk more about this in the future. The HOTAS prototypes are awaiting review and delivery to them. The Caterpillar is still being worked on. The Bengal Carrier is still in production in the UK. The Starfarer and Reliant are both being finished for hangar readiness. And the Jean Scout is being tested for flight ready at the moment. Anyway, guys, that's it from this week's weekly review and Star Citizen news. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help me. This is also available as a written and podcast for those of you that wish to view it or read it or whatever, in whatever way. It will be available on redacted.tv, so check that out, and I will see you guys in the verse.